Hello and welcome to our Year with the Ears, our daily vlog where we relive our year living in the Walt Disney World resorts in 2019. Today is day 205.
We woke up this morning, got ready for the day here at the Polynesian, and because we still have club level access, we headed up to the second floor to get breakfast. We ate and then headed back downstairs to get our laptops, and we went up. I worked for just a short time here in the club level lounge, but Robert was going to stay here most of the day because he had some work he wanted to get done. And what better place to work than Walt Disney World in a club level lounge?
Especially here at Polynesian because you've got these big windows and you're overlooking the Seven Seas Lagoon and the bungalows. Cinderella Castle's out there in the distance. It's just the perfect place to work. And I have unlimited snacks while I'm working here once they bring out the lunchtime snacks. So I'm pretty happy working up here. We've got a lot I need to do today. I'm working on all the fun administrative side of the business today.
We have different versions of fun.
Like moving bank accounts and changing business registrations and stuff because we're in Florida now, so we need to move all that stuff over, and it's just tons of fun, and I get to work on that all day long today.
I actually went and had fun while I was here. Again, we're at the Polynesian, and today is July 24th, and here at the Polynesian, they are celebrating Christmas in July at the resort. So I headed to the lobby to see what they were doing, and I was blown away by everything the cast members here had prepared for Christmas in July. Starting out, they had bingo for everyone, which isn't that big of a deal, I realize, but it's still fun. There were kids and adults playing bingo. I got some bingo cards and I was playing. I never won, but I still had fun playing. And then Stitch came around and he was walking around the lobby. So I took a couple pictures of him, and then he decided he wanted to play bingo. So he went and got a card from the cast member, sat down. Then he caught me taking pictures of him, and so he waved. It was super adorable. But then the craziest thing happened. Stitch won bingo. Literally sat there for 3 minutes and won while everyone else has been trying to fill their cards. And so he got a prize. The best part of this is when he ran up there and showed the cast member his card that he had won bingo, the cast member went, "He really did win. He actually did win bingo. He didn't cheat." And all the little kids went, "Oh!" And I started cracking up because I'm over here clapping like, "Yay, Stitch!" The kids were not having any of it. He just took their prize and they did not care that this was Stitch. He just won a prize that they should have had. After he won the prize, he actually was walking around kind of like showing off the little Christmas tree he got because it's Christmas in July, so all the prizes were themed to Christmas. So he's kind of doing one of these, just very happy. So I asked if I could take a picture with Stitch and his prize. He said yes, so I took a couple pictures. And then he gave me his prize, and it was the sweetest thing ever. And I still have this adorable little Christmas tree prize that he gave me 2 years ago. And then after they put all the cards away, bingo was over. Yes, other people did win. They did keep playing so the kids could win as well, because that did not go over well. They brought out these tables and these trays of sugar cookies to give out to everyone. I actually did ask if I could have one without any frosting, and they were able to accommodate because they were frosting it right there, just kind of putting some frosting on. They had a whole table of different types of sprinkles, so you could kind of create your own. Obviously, you can't do too much with that many people, but they were adding the frosting right there, so it was nice and fresh, and then they were adding the sprinkles. And I was like, this is such a creative idea. So I got a couple cookies for Robert, put some sprinkles on them to make them look pretty, and they said that was fine. I took some to him. And then I got a plain one for myself so I could actually eat the cookie. And it was really good. It actually tasted like a homemade cookie, not like one of those store-bought ones you get. So I went back up once the line had died down a little bit, started talking to one of the cast members, just said, "Hey, I wanted to compliment you on the cookies. They tasted really good. They weren't just cute and pretty, because they had so many different shapes." And I was like, "These tasted really good." She goes, "Oh, really? That makes me so happy. Thank you for letting me know." I was like, "You're welcome." She goes, "Oh, well, we went to order them, but because we needed so many for today, apparently they don't normally need that many when someone orders, and so they told us they wouldn't be able to get them to us in time." So she and several of the cast members got together and made all of the cookies that they were passing out today so that they could have cookies for Christmas in July for the guests. And I was like, that is dedication.
Seriously.
I was just so surprised. I know that the cast members really do love what they do. They love making guests happy. But had they not had cookies, none of us would have known, and that would have been fine. But they were so determined to make sure we all had a really great time that they took their time to make these cookies, and not just make like normal cookies. They were shapes and everything so that we could have really good cookies, and they did. They tasted amazing.
And I guess we shouldn't be surprised that the cast member who headed all of that up no longer works at the Polynesian. She now runs her own bakery in Winter Garden called Sweet D's Cupcakery. This is a shameless plug for that place because it's not too far away from Disney. We love their cakes and cupcakes. That's where we go whenever we want to get something. So just a little plug there for them because she did an awesome job on the cookies and now does awesome jobs with cakes and cupcakes.
The next activity was decorating your own ornament, which was a lot of fun. They had these special paint markers that you could use. You could take whatever colors you wanted, and they had already stuffed all the little ornaments with some little fake flowers from the Lays. And so you just take an ornament and you can write whatever you want on it, draw whatever you want on it. Thankfully, Robert had finished up all of his calls and everything he was doing at this point, so we both got to decorate ornaments and just have a lot of fun with this. And we do still have these, and they do go on the Christmas tree when we have those up. After all of the Christmas fun, we did head back to the Club Level Lounge because we did pay to have access to the Club Level Lounge, and we need to eat lunch because we are hungry.
Food, it's an important thing, especially when it's free. I always have to put it in quotation marks, but free food, you've got to take advantage.
So we headed back there for lunch and ate, and then came back to the lobby of the Polynesian because today is Wednesday, and every Wednesday is the celebration of Aloha, which is a celebration of the Polynesian culture. We had actually never seen this before. We've been here several times and have never seen it. We didn't want to miss it, so we went to the lobby and waited until it was ready, and this was really amazing to watch. They had all the kids sit down who were there, and they got to play different instruments, explained what the instruments were. They sang, they danced, they even did a conga line around the lobby, which was so much fun to watch. They had the kukui nut lays out if you did want to make one of those, and they kind of explained a little bit more about them. And then they read a story to all the kids about the Polynesian culture. And it was just a really, really pretty way to celebrate a culture that many of us don't know a lot about. And I really enjoyed just standing back and watching all of this and watching the kids enjoy it as well.
Once that was over, we went back to the room to change really quickly, and we grabbed a quick bite from the Club Level Lounge, then went to the bus to head over to Disney Springs because there is a cast member preview at Disney Springs today of the new NBA experience, and a few of our friends got invited and invited us to come along with them. At this point, we had no idea what to expect from the NBA experience, except they told us to wear clothes that we could move freely in because it is an active place. And also we know that we really don't follow the NBA at all or care very much about professional basketball, but it's a free preview, so we're gonna go check it out and see what we think. Once we got there, it was a really interesting experience going in because you go to the computer and you sign up and create your profile because all of the different games track your stats so you can see how well you do, and if you come back at a later time you can see yourself improving or not improving, most likely in my case, but that's okay. So you create your profile by choosing your basketball name. They have a whole bunch of different choices to choose from. And then once you're done, you walk into the NBA experience and you start out right there at center court on a basketball court with the lights shining down and all the video cameras and all the TVs around. It's a kind of cool experience. You feel like you're standing right there on a court. And then you go through and walk into the locker room area. You get to see the lockers where they have jerseys and different things from all the different NBA teams. And then after you leave the locker room area, you can go to the Hall of Champions area where they have a couple trophies that you can hold up and take pictures with, all kind of just giving you the experience of being in the NBA and I guess winning a championship too because they give you the trophy as well. After exploring here, the first stop is the Combine, where you actually go and get measured and tested before you get to go into the NBA draft. So they measure several different things like your wingspan and your reach and then also your vertical jump, all digitally on this giant wall where they project it. It's a really cool technology. Obviously not the same as the real NBA Combine, but a kind of a cool experience either way. And then after they measure all of that, they do have you do some shooting drills, and they actually track the ball and show you the path of the ball and what angle you're shooting at and the arch that you're using, and it really just kind of instructs you on how to improve your shot. Unless you're really good already, then it just tells you you're doing really well. Neither of us are really good already. We both needed a lot of help from the instructions.
To the point, I didn't even get a percentage for my shooting. I got a check mark to show that, yes, I did shoot. I didn't make any, but I did shoot. Once all of us finished the drills, we headed upstairs because that is the next step. And this is where basically everything else is in the NBA experience. we weren't sure exactly what to expect and what was up there. So we just walked around seeing where everything was, what it was, and trying to see how long the lines were for everything, because we don't want to wait in any long lines. So we're like, okay, what is it we all want to do? And how long are the lines? Because if we have to wait in a really long line, it's really not worth it. We only get 3 hours here, and we want to make sure we can do as much as possible during that time. So we walked around and we decided that there were really short lines for a lot of the things, because some of them can have up to 30 people at a time. And since this is a limited thing, because just cast members and their guests, there weren't that many people in the building, so we knew it wasn't oversold at all. And so the lines were going really quickly. They would get really long, and then the next group would go in, and then it'd be short again. We're like, okay, now that we know that, we're just gonna go ahead and start doing everything we wanna do. And we decided the first thing we wanted to do was basically the arcade version of basketball. So we all went and just kind of had fun shooting the ball over and over. But they don't just have these for adults, they have them for kids too. And since we were trying to review everything we possibly could, we decided that we needed to review the kids one as well. So we got on our knees and tried to compete to see who could get the most baskets. Next, we decided to head to trivia. None of us are basketball fans, so we did not know how this was gonna go. And it went exactly how you'd expect. It was horrible.
We all did so bad.
Thankfully, a lot of this is guessing between like A, B, C, or D. So we were guessing, and sometimes we would get it right. But it's not because we knew the answer, it was just by pure luck.
Yeah, my favorites were the true and false questions, because I got a 50-50 chance on those. After failing badly at trivia, we went and played some of the individual games, like the dribbling, where they actually teach you to dribble and go through these different drills, and as you get better, it actually gets harder, and they make it more and more difficult to try and help you get better at dribbling. So we went through a couple rounds of that, and then headed next door to the dunk area, where you have an adjustable height basketball goal that you can raise or lower to whatever height you want, and then practice your dunking skills.
I went first when we got there, and they lowered this for me because I am shorter, so they wanted to make it more even. And so they got it to about 7'6", thinking that would be about right, and I could not make it in, so they lowered it again. Still couldn't make it in, so they lowered it again, and I finally was able to dunk it. Yay! So it turns out I have to have a 7'1" basketball goal in order to have a chance of making it, which thankfully I did. Woo! But I also still missed it a couple times too, so I'm just not good at basketball. That's why I don't play it.
And then it was my turn to dunk, and I did raise it up a little bit above the 7'1" mark, because I found out today that my vertical is 8'8". That's as high as I can reach. I also had trouble dunking at certain heights, but it was fun just to try and experiment. It would also help if I was able to palm the basketball. I think that would make it a lot easier to dunk, but whatever. It was a fun thing to play around with for the adjustable height goal for a few minutes, and then we were kind of done with that. So we moved on over to the replay area, which is where you don't play as the basketball player, but as the referee instead. So you go into the room and they teach you a little bit about what you're looking for, and then you have to watch the replay of an actual basketball play from a real NBA game and decide what the call should be. It was really interesting for someone like me who's a total nerd about all the rules and technicalities of the different games, but it also was something that most people were just like, yeah, I'm good. I just want to go shoot the basketball.
And the next game we came to was called Slingshot. And this one is basically a game that you could find literally in any arcade. The only way that it works in the NBA experience is you are shooting it into a basketball hoop, but technically this really isn't a basketball game per se. So we ended up playing this because you can have a ton of people playing at one time. It is a lot of fun. So you put the foam ball in the slingshot, you pull it back and shoot it. You don't make it, so you try it again and adjust, and it's just so much fun, but it's a timed thing. You are playing against a ton of other people, and we all loved this game so much. This was our favorite thing we've done so far, and ironically, it really isn't revolving around basketball, of course, so it's probably why we liked it so much. We're like, okay, we're definitely gonna play that again, but we're still trying to make sure we do everything here. So we went and waited in the longest line that they had so far tonight, and that was for shoot. Now shoot is literally where you get half a basketball court and they light up certain areas and you're supposed to go to that area and try and make a shot. And then the cast member throws another basketball to you, you go to the next spot and then you try and make a shot. And so you go all the way around and then you see how you did. it had a really long line because this is actually the only place that couldn't accommodate 10 or more people because they could only do 2 people at a time. So it just had a long wait because of that.
This game went very quickly though because you only had 15 seconds to try and make all 5 shots, which is actually not very much time at all. So while you're playing, it goes very quickly, and the line that was very long moved very quickly as well because the game was over almost as soon as it started.
We all went and played, and then we decided, well, that was fun. We've now done everything, so we're gonna go back to Slingshot because we really enjoyed that. We played a couple more rounds of Slingshot, and then we found out there were actually 2 shows here in the building, but they're downstairs, which is why we didn't realize they were there. They're kind of off to the side. We're like, well, we are trying to do everything we can tonight. We still have time. So we all decided to go watch the first show because they have 2 different ones, and they kind of tell you like, this one's number 1, this one's number 2. Do them in that order. We're like, okay. So we went and sat in the first show, and it was a 7.5-minute commercial for the NBA. We literally sat there to watch a commercial for the NBA. And we were all just like, why is this even here? Like, clearly we're here for the NBA. We don't need a commercial for it. So it was actually really annoying. So all of our friends went upstairs to play more games, and we're like, this is literally the only thing we haven't done. So we walked over, and there was no one in line for the second show because once you watch the first one, you're kind of like, I don't want to watch whatever the second one is. So we went inside. There was this poor cast member standing there with no one over there. We go inside. We're the only ones in here, and we sit down and watch this beautiful, beautiful story of an NBA player and his wife, and it almost made us cry. It was such a beautifully well done show. And so we tried telling everyone we could, go to the second one, it's amazing. But after the first show that everyone watched, they didn't want to go to the second one because they were afraid it'd be another commercial. I was like, I really wish they would do this one first because this was so well done and told this amazing story of these 2 amazing humans. And I was so sad that so many people were missing out on it because they didn't go watch it.
We still had about 40 minutes left here in the NBA experience, so we wanted to go back upstairs and see what else do we want to play again and go through. And the answer was definitely Slingshot. That's the only thing we want to keep playing. So we went over and got in line. It was a really short line. Basically, by the time you got in line, they called you over and the whole group lined up and played the game. So we played for the next 30 or 40 minutes with our friends, sometimes without our friends, just playing because I was determined to get a high score, which I never actually did. Once our time was finally up, we did head out of the NBA experience, said goodbye to our friends, and then hopped on a bus from Disney Springs back to the Polynesian. When we got there, we had made it in time for dessert at the club level lounge. So we went over there and got a couple plates to take back to our room. There was an apple tart tonight that was very good. I wish they had some ice cream to go with it, but that's okay. The tart itself was really good. They had carrot cake, which is one of my favorite desserts, mostly because of the cream cheese frosting. They had some little cupcakes as well as Rice Krispie treats and cookies that they always have. And they had a chocolate tart tonight.
Finally, I'm so tired of seeing the mocha tart because I won't eat those, but a chocolate tart I will eat and I love. So I got several of those. We did take it back to our room because we are very hot and sweaty, so we want to shower off. But because we did make it in time for dessert, we wanted to grab them before it was over. So we got ready for the evening and enjoyed some desserts, and that was the end of our day today. So we'll see you tomorrow
For our Year with the Ears.